What's up, Internet? My name is Kyle, back with another episode about cameras, tech, and all that good stuff. Today, we're going to talk about focus areas and what they are and how to use them. Okay, so focus areas. What are they? How do you use them? Where do you go to change them? And all that good stuff. Okay, so let's get started. So for the a6000, which I'm filming on right now, and it's the camera that I mainly use for photography, it has 179 autofocus points. Different cameras have more points or less points. It all depends on what the camera can do. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about the a6000 specifically. I'm gonna show you guys examples with that. However, I'm sure you can follow along with your camera too. Just in case you wanna know how I have my camera set up, I have the center button on my camera, the circle button, set to change the focus areas. If you wanna set up your camera like my camera, you go to the menu button, then you go to tab 2, which is the gear symbol. Then you go to custom key settings, select that, and then scroll down to the center button, select that, and then choose focus area. What that allows you to do is press the center button on the back of your camera, and then it will give you the 4 choices for the focus areas. Hit the center button again on the one you want, and boom, there you are. Okay, so the first focus area is wide. Basically what it does is it uses all of the focus area points and it tries to put a subject in the front in focus the most. Actually, that's not really true. It really depends on your aperture or your f-stop, but just know that it's using all of the autofocus points to try and get things in focus. For example, if you're using wide and you have a subject that is in front of, say, a larger background, you are going to focus on that subject. A use case which I would use wide is, say, like a group shot or a landscape or just kind of general use. I use wide a lot, actually, more than I thought before I made this video, but you're not gonna be able to pinpoint certain specific pots. You're not going to pinpoint certain specific spots with wide, obviously, because it's trying to take in the whole picture and get something in focus. And it's not designed for that use. I'm not sure, but wide may be the default when you get your camera. So if you're not able to actually like drill in and get something in focus, it may be because you're on wide. So you might want to look into changing into one of the other modes. Okay, so number 2 is zone, which I actually really like. I use this a lot. I mean, I use them all a lot, but number 2 is zone. And what that basically does, it cuts up all of the focus areas into different zones. So you can do a top left, you can do a bottom right, you can do right in the middle. You can pick different areas of the frame to emphasize the focus. This gives you a little more creativity than wide, because if you're using wide, it may just grab focus on the item or the subject or whatever it is that's closest to you. With zone, you could say, hey, I want this flower in the bottom left to be in focus and everything else to not be in focus. Whereas wide may choose the flower that's in the bottom right, the middle, or the left. So zone lets you go, no, I just want this particular zone. So in this example right here, I have a couple things on my desk. So I can focus on one thing on my desk, and then if I want to change it, I simply move the zone to the other side and I can get the other object in focus. So now we're on to number 3, which is center focus, which you may have guessed if you're a detective. I don't know if you are, but it keeps things in focus in the center. So you might want to use center focus if you want to keep your composition like focused on the center. I use this actually more than I thought I did. Because if I'm taking pictures of a specific thing and I kind of want the whole focus of the image to kind of be towards the center is just the easiest. Of course, I could do zone, or I can even do the last mode, which we'll talk about later, but center kind of just always keys you in that you're in the center, rather than if you were on zone and you were accidentally pushed to the side or something, you're not gonna get the center and then you're gonna have to change it. So if you're always sure that what you care about is in the center, then go ahead and use center focus area. The fourth focus area is flexible spot, which gives you a lot of flexibility, which is a cool focus area option because it has different sizes. So you can use the particular spot in small, medium, or large. This is perfect if you're using it to get focus on an eye and you're not using IAF, or you want to get focus on, like, say, a brand label or something like that. Now, this doesn't mean that it's not going to focus on things around that. That of course depends on the aperture that you're using. By the way, I mentioned it earlier, aperture. If you don't know what I'm talking about with that, or bokeh, you can watch the video that I made about the bokeh basics. So flexible spot, like I was saying, you can key in a very specific spot. So it allows you to really kind of dive in and get something in focus. So if you don't want to use manual focus, you can use flexible spot instead. Flexible spot is very useful when you're trying to get things in focus using a very large aperture like 1.8 or 1.4 or something like that, because you may not get it with wide because there's such a shallow depth of field, like a shallow, narrow area for you to get something in focus. But if you use flexible spot, you can say, hey, camera, I want that right there, this small little square, or medium or large, and I want that to be in focus. And then you can kind of play around with the bokeh. And you can focus more on actually getting a cool composed shot or artistic shot, rather than just, is it in focus? So that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And even if you didn't, I hope it wasn't boring. I've kind of been meaning to do a lot of these videos about the different basics dealing with the a6000 or just photography in general. So let me know if there's something that I haven't covered yet that you would want me to cover, and I'll try my best to make a video about it. And as always, thank you so much for your guys' support. Thanks for all the comments, likes, all those different things. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Later. All right. Time to YouTube. Oh boy. I'm watching you. How am I looking? Okay. Can you like deliver me a beer?
What kind of beer do you want?
In the frame? All right, hold on. Here, put your left hand in.
Okay.
Ah! You have to see what? Yeah.
Are you just gonna be talking when you should just be talking
so,
and it gets delivered to you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And you just grab it out from in front of you.
Okay, so if I'm talking,
You're very magenta, right?
what am I supposed to? No, I just kind of want it to come in. You know what I mean? Okay, so focus areas. What are they? How do you use them? How do you change them? And all that good stuff. So let's get started. I thought you were gonna do it.
Well, you were using your hands, so what was I supposed to do? Get bashed in the face?
Okay, so focus areas. What are they? How do you use them? Where do you go to change them? And all that good stuff. Okay, so let's get started.
No, not that I have a problem, just that I don't feel truly like I'm having a relaxing night unless I have a beer in my hand and I'm just chilling.
I was thinking about, I was gonna say maybe it's just because we're in our late 20s, but I'm
You're
30.
30.